Hello there, and how are you doing? Good morning from Hong Kong, as it is currently morning on the third day of Hong Kong's Fintech Week, which has kind of been a little bit derailed because we've got rumours of a typhoon swooping in. We have a T3, which is the signal saying it's very, very windy, and they're saying it will go to a T8, which is the point where they say, right, stay indoors, don't do anything in case you get hit by flying debris. Which I used to think was nonsense. And then one day I was walking through Wan Chai Market during a TA and I was hit by flying debris. So I take that very, very seriously indeed. But it is a big week here for Hong Kong in that I think it's the push for Hong Kong as a city to prove that it is as back to normal as it will ever be. So not only we've got Hong Kong Fintech Week, there is a Bankers Summit going on, and we've got the Rugby Sevens at the end of the week, which is it's probably going to be slightly more muted than the usual one because people still aren't travelling in due to testing requirements. But it is one of the strongest indications yet that maybe, just maybe, Hong Kong is now starting to feel a bit more like Hong Kong should do. So that's quite good. But I'm here to talk about Hong Kong Fintech Week, and in particular what I saw when I was there. Now, it was a very interesting couple of days. I was there for most of the Monday and quite a lot of the Tuesday. I saw some interesting talks and some interesting exhibitors. It was slightly different from previous years in that last year, certainly in the year before, it felt like it was dominated almost entirely by crypto. We had massive stands from some of the big crypto exchanges, and everyone seemed to be pushing their tokenization, their essentially their crypto investments. There was a lot of investing in crypto going on. That was still there to a certain extent, but it kind of switched, and there was a massive push now on bigger institutionalized businesses, I suppose. The banks had a huge presence, as they always do, but they seem more front and center than crypto than before. There were some tech companies there. It was interesting to see the Meta stand, where, bear in mind, it's Hong Kong. So if you want to go into the Hong Kong Fintech Week, you have to wear a mask, obviously. You also are not allowed any food and drink while you're in the actual exhibiting area and where the talk's going on. However, you can go up to the Meta stand and put on a VR headset that someone else has used, which I'm sure they sanitize. It just seems a bit of a mockery, but there we go. But Meta were there, and there were talks were very much focused on NFTs and the Metaverse. I mean, some of the talks were very much building Hong Kong as a digital hub, and I'm hoping that is something that there is a lot of investment in, making it sort of the place in Asia, allowing for some of the rivalry with Singapore to try and make it the place where technology companies can thrive, and certainly fintech can thrive, because Hong Kong is still, despite what's been going on, a bit of a financial centre. We'll see if it retains its crown of Asia, who knows. But there was a lot of talk on top of that of Metaverse, and everyone was talking about the Metaverse. We had people talk about having roles within businesses as chief Metaverse officers, which is an interesting definition of CMO. And as I said, Meta was everywhere. You could create your own Metaverse avatar with Animoca brands, which was quite interesting as well. People were talking about NFTs and how NFTs are important. And all of the banks had well, not all of the banks, but almost all the banks, certainly the banks with the big stands, had some sort of metaverse presence, whether it was either doing one of the banks did where they just made their stand look as if it was something from Minecraft, which didn't really get the point, or you've got a real live metaverse product, one of the other banks, which bank who begins with a H, I'm not going to say anything else about that, and other banks showing how you could do all your banking services, everything you'd ever want to do at a bank in the metaverse itself. And I got chatting to someone who was obviously didn't realise what I do for a living and didn't think, oh, he's a tech lawyer, he's going to ask me difficult questions. And he was like, do you want to have a go with this metaverse? You can actually access our banking platform and do all your banking services at our metaverse branch. And I was like, oh, which metaverse are you in? He's like, I don't know, which didn't get me off to a great start. And then he said, so what can you do in this? Why is it so exciting? He's like, well, rather than going to your physical branch, you can go into the metaverse, and then you can go to our virtual branch and you can do money transfers, and you can pay your bills, and you can make investments all in our metaverse branch just by putting on a VR headset. And I was like, that's kind of cool, but why wouldn't you just use your online banking apps on your phone? And I felt like I'd just rained on his parade a bit, because he looked at me as if I'd said, well, I wasn't expecting that question. Whereas obviously I thought it would be the first question for everyone, and he didn't really know. Which made me think, it feels like the metaverse is super, super hyped, but nobody really knows what to do with it. So we've got the issues with Meta. You've seen some of the stories if you read the FT, who are big on it in the last couple of weeks. The amount of investment that Meta, old Facebook, remember, are putting into the metaverse is huge, and now Mark Zuckerberg's getting a bit of pushback. And here we saw lots of businesses saying the metaverse is the future, but not really defining what you would actually do within the metaverse, not thinking what it's for. Now, I am a big proponent of the metaverse. I think it's very exciting, I think it's very cool, but its use case is still something that's a bit elusive. I think for things like gaming and socializing, it's something very cool, but then online gaming has always been very cool. I also don't think that you need the VR element that Meta's pushing for it to really make the metaverse work. But VR was a big thing at Hong Kong Fintech Week. But it seems that really people aren't really getting beyond anything. Well, put it another way, people are saying, oh, we will create these new universes that focus on our branding, and you can essentially buy things in the metaverse that focus on our brand. It did seem like a whole new way of just really advertising. One of the talks that was given, I'm not going to say who it was because they'll probably shout at me, was talking about how the metaverse is great for fashion brands, and I agree, it is. Because you could essentially create your brand in the metaverse, in whichever metaverse you may happen to be in, who knows. And instead of just selling one luxury good, one luxury watch, it's an Apple Watch, it's not a luxury watch, one luxury watch or one luxury bag, you could sell an NFT of a luxury bag and link to that NFT the fact that whenever someone then tries to sell on that bag, you make more money. So essentially you get a cut of the proceeds. So rather than making one bag and then essentially you've sold that bag and you've got some money, you can then sell for the same price or even more, he was saying, this NFT tokenized bag, which would then be a constant stream of revenue for your brand, be you Hermes or, I'm trying to think of luxury brands, Gucci or Louis Vuitton or whoever. And I was like, that's great again. And we talked about that before. That's NFTs. It's just the way that NFTs work. NFTs are kind of going through a bit of a lull at the moment because people don't really know what they're for. An investment bubble in them, I think, has popped. But you've still got a bag, a virtual bag that you've paid a lot of money for, and you're giving money back to the person you bought it from if you sell it, that you can't put anything in. And I just thought, well, people buy luxury goods, surely, well, maybe I'm wrong, maybe because I'm not into luxury goods, people surely don't buy them just so they can say they've got something that they never use. Or do people just have bags full of very expensive, wardrobes full of very expensive handbags that nobody ever sees in the belief they'll sell them on? Maybe I just don't understand the luxury goods market, but there you go. But anyway, my key takeaway was that everyone now is obsessed with the metaverse. Nobody seems to know what it is, but actually what it really is just an advertising platform. And with that will come all of the fun and games we had with advertising in the early days of the internet. And with that will come with people saying it's being misused or it's targeting our children. I just feel that maybe people have got the wrong end of the stick, and perhaps, I don't know, maybe people need to start not believing the hype. There was a lot of people who seemed to be saying things without really knowing what they were talking about when it came to the metaverse. Now, NFTs, there was the usual thing of create your NFTs, create an NFT platform. There was banking trying to exploit the whole NFT boom. Not sure if that's really going to catch on. And then there was a lot of just standard stuff in terms of blockchain, which was the quiet citizen, I felt, of the FinTech Week, saying how enterprise blockchain is a thing. And I was like, this has been a thing for a long time. And now more businesses offering to set up blockchains, and you can actually essentially outsource a lot of your business function to a blockchain-based platform, which is great if it's the right sort of thing. Don't put everything on a blockchain. That was great, but the people there didn't seem like they were getting any attention. So it was weird. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens at the Bankers Summit, whether that's all private jets and champagne or they're actually talking about technology. I don't know what bankers do behind closed doors. My entire knowledge of banking life is based on the Wolf of Wall Street, and I'm sure that doesn't go on. I don't get invited to these things, so I don't know. But maybe then we will see more of a hub. What we didn't see, and one thing that I wish we had seen, is how we essentially attract, financial talent in Hong Kong. It's always been a centre, and I know they're struggling. But if we're going to make a lot of these financial technology evolutions work, we need people who've got the tech expertise, the people who are the tech talent in Hong Kong. Frankly, that is clearly lacking at the moment. Everyone seems to want their kids to be doctors and lawyers. Doctors and lawyers, great. Well, doctors are pretty useful. I don't know about lawyers. But we do need a way of attracting people who will actually not only, I suppose, sell these concepts, not just sell the fact that we should all be doing things in the metaverse, but we also need people who think, how do we actually build it and make it work? And that, I think, is Hong Kong's problem. So there we go. Just thought it would be interesting to see what I think. Legally, nobody's got a clue, frankly, as how what would happen if you've got a banking system in the metaverse and it goes wrong. Well, probably it's going to depend on the terms and conditions either of the whatever virtual branch you go into, or whatever metaverse you're dealing with. I assume that would probably how it works. That's how it works with everything else, but we don't know. I've seen some. There was a thing earlier this week about the Chef Pierre NFT case, the Bored Ape that was used as collateral for a loan, where the Singapore court said, yep, definitely property, and Chef Pierre is not allowed to do anything with the NFT that he's holding as collateral. And that just made me think, that's great once again, but who is Chef Pierre? You've still got a claim against someone, you don't know who he is, and you can't do anything to him. So what's the use? But there we go. That's it for now. I will be off to the Rugby Sevens, where I am doing a radio show on Sunday, which I'm excited about. And I will use this to gauge how Hong Kong is recovering and what the interest really is. My guess is that the interest of the Rugby Sevens won't necessarily be the metaverse. It may not even be finance. It probably won't even be rugby. From previous experience, my emphasis when I've seen people there is normally on drinking. But we will find out. Who knows? But I will be back fairly soon with more updates. I'm doing a talk next week for the Financial Times on the metaverse, where I'll bring in some of these concepts. One of the things they've asked me to talk about is not just the legalities and the way the metaverse works and whether it will ever catch on, which I still think it will, just probably in a gaming, socializing, advertising platform rather than spending all of your lives in there. But I'll also be talking about some of the dark sides of it, such as harassment and essentially fraud. Because think about it. If you've got banking happening in the metaverse and you can do anything you can do with your online account or your account in a branch in the metaverse, the possibility for fraud, for bad actors, for things to go wrong is pretty great. And part of me thinks that's really exciting because it's kind of cool and it feels like a sci-fi movie, but that's great until actually you find you've lost your life savings. So we'll see. There, that's it from me for now. I'll be back very soon. Hopefully this typhoon isn't going to be too windy, but I'm holed up in my room full of technology and gadgets, and I have a new computer with a 4090 in it, so if it goes really bad I can sit and play Cyberpunk 2077 all day. But I'll see you soon. Take care.